This episode of Behind the Video is brought to you by the Independent Media Network. The Independent Media Network helps journalists and content creators create their own jobs by building sustainable online businesses. If you're an unemployed or underemployed journalist or content creator, visit imntt.com for more information.
Hey everybody, we are back for episode number 42 of Behind the Video. I think we're almost to a year here, Tim, so we're being very disciplined. And Tim Street is here, by the way, from from Austin, because he's at South by Southwest this week.
That's right. What am I doing? I'm not broadcasting. I'm
on location.
I'm webcasting from South by Southwest, and for those of you watching the live feed, let's see, from the hotel room, you can kind of see the convention center right there. I'm not looking at the screen right now, but that silver and blue building is the convention center from the Courtyard Marriott Residence Inn. And things are kind of light down there on the street right now. In the past years, NBC's Today Show has parked a truck down there, giving away free breakfast. This year it looks like kefir is being given away. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that
There's
there, yeah.
a little van, and so they're giving away ice cream made of kefir. And the lines are kind of light right now. I think that people are trickling in. There was a time change, so folks are slow to get up. And there's free breakfast going on at different events. A lot of companies have these lounges where you can go to the lounge and get something to drink. I mean, yesterday I was at the Chevy Tweet House, which was a great one. Brian Solis was talking about his book. In fact, I think I have a copy of it here. Hold on a second. It's What's the Future of Business, which it's a nice book, some very valuable information.
Is that WTF on the front? Is that what that says?
Yes, that is.
What's the future, though?
Future, yeah. Right. What's the future?
Not the other connotation.
Yeah, and so it's talking a lot about disruption. And so Brian had a speech that he was giving at the Chevy Tweet House, which was in a bicycle shop, but then they were giving away barbecue and beers, and it makes you feel good to get a lot of great information. I mean, there are a lot of panels going on that are in the convention center that you need a badge for, and then there's other panels that go on outside as well. CC Chapman, he's another social media podcaster guy from our community. He had a brunch sponsored by Vocus, and he had his book that he was doing signings of. Amazing Things Will Happen. Of course, I didn't get mine signed.
He didn't sign it,
but I did have the breakfast. So
the breakfast is probably worth it.
Yeah, so that was cool. And the best thing about this is the amount of contact that you get with people that you wouldn't normally get to hang out with. Like last night I was at a party for What's Trending. It's a live show from Hollywood, and they had a party going on with Fullscreen, which is one of the multi-channel networks. And I showed up, and my buddy Eddie Codell was there, and he walks in with Chad Hurley, the founder of YouTube. So I wind up, spending a few minutes talking to Chad Hurley, which you don't get those opportunities. And South by Southwest is just one of those places where you can just stumble into the most interesting people and have a great time and make friends that you see over and over again. And
really part of it is that I was going to ask, which events should you think about attending and signing up for, because there are so many, but it sounds like, it's almost luck of the draw that something really interesting might happen at something that may otherwise appear to be pretty benign, right?
Yeah, I think if you come to South by Southwest the first year, you should look at the schedule and spend some time going to the sessions and really enjoy it for what it is, to make sure you get something out of it. But the real value for me over the years has been the networking and meeting folks. I had lunch yesterday with Chris Pirillo. He's a YouTuber that talks about tech, and he's got a new event coming up that deals with vloggers. So I'll be tweeting about that shortly, and It's coming up in June in Washington State. So, you just find out all this interesting stuff about what's going on and what's happening in your world. And video is definitely a big focus this year. It really feels like video has come of age at South by Southwest. So it's fun to see old. It feels like old relatives. See your old cousins and meet new ones.
Right, the old cousins doing new things, perhaps. Right. It's
yeah.
Now, how long does the South by Southwest Festival run until?
So there's 3 different parts. There's the interactive, there's the film, and there's the music. And the interactive starts on a Friday and goes to Tuesday and kind of overlaps with film. But the whole festival is about 10 days long. So if you,
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time if you want to stay for the whole thing. I have a badge that gets me into the interactive and into the film, and I just haven't had a chance to go do anything. And I've been here since Wednesday, and today's Sunday. I've just been in meetings, and parties, and it's unbelievable the amount of access that you have here to doing business. And if you have no business doing business, then there's great education, which I wish I could freeze dry the sessions and go see the ones that I want to go see, but there's just so much stuff going on. Later on today, My Damn Channel has an event sponsored by Subway, and Daily Grace is going to be there, so I'm going to pop into that and say hi. But it's just one thing after another, and it's just so much fun.
And it's got to be hard to keep your schedule in check here. So
it is. There have been a few things that I've missed. I have not yet made it to the Showtime Lounge. They have a lounge where they're giving away food and drinks, and I've got a special coveted pass for that, and I just haven't had a chance to get there.
And make sure Dexter doesn't haul you out of there.
That's right. That's right.
Now, what should people think about? People that are there that are watching, there's a couple of days still left in the session here. So what should they think about attending over the next couple of days?
Well, today at 3:30 here at the Marriott, I'm going to be on a panel where we're going to be talking with Jen Selke, Berkeley PhD, and we're going to be talking about dealing with millennials and what it's like to plan your work around hiring and how to deal with these young entitled folks and their parents who show up to work with them.
Really? Does that happen?
There are some stories
really?
that we're going to be sharing this afternoon. So
okay, that should be an interesting one. And is there recordings of these sessions anywhere like they have for New Media Expo and other things, or is it maybe just depending on?
I think there are some. Over the years, South by Southwest has been doing really. They've done a really great job with podcasting and making those available on iTunes. And actually have a meeting after this with one of the iTunes guys in the podcasting world. So that'll be fun as well.
Cool. Well, that should be great. We can tell them about our little gig here. We need to get boost our ratings a little bit. So, well, maybe next week we'll do kind of a download of what some of the pertinent moments from this week here, and give us a little update as to what some of our content creators who couldn't make it, perhaps some things that you learned there that they might find useful.
Very good. Excellent.
So, a little bit of breaking news. Moving on, YouTube has made some more changes, and they make changes all the time, and I think I actually liken this, we talked about this before the show, I liken it to like a local zoning board where no matter what they do, people are going to hate it. So the new thing on YouTube this week, beyond all the other changes they've already made, is that the channel page, the page that is your homepage on YouTube has, or it will be changed. You can opt into this, but I would imagine this is going to be where everyone will end up at some point in the very near future. And it's a new look, and everyone is going to look relatively the same. So right now you can put background images on, you can do all sorts of crazy things around your subscribe button and stuff, and it looks like they're getting away from that and moving to a very standardized format. And they are doing this probably because YouTube is appearing on so many different platforms, and they actually give you a little template you can download to load in your channel image, because it has to be Retina ready for iPads and Macs that have that screen resolution, and I would imagine other tablets too. It has to have enough resolution available to appear on a 1080p television for TV apps, and it also has to be able to work with mobile. So there's a little bit of a time crunch, or not crunch, but certainly some time investment in making the your channel logo look appropriate for this new format. And they give you some flexibility below where all the images are to put in playlists and format how your videos will appear, but you don't have a lot of options. It's pretty static in how it's presented. But what they do let you do is put in a channel trailer, so that if somebody comes to your channel and isn't subscribed, you can do a little trailer talking about what you do. And I've already done that for my gadget review channel, and it's pretty cool because it immediately plays right when people come in, and it really encourages people to once again follow YouTube's desire to have people subscribe to channels. So
I've got a question for you there,
sure.
Lon. When your trailer plays, are there commercials that go on top of the trailer?
I haven't seen that happen yet, and what I actually on my trailer I turned off monetization for that video, and I haven't seen of the channels that they've kind of showcased, I haven't seen any of those run an ad over the trailer.
Really?
So yeah.
Someone's here at my door. Oh,
okay.
It's housekeeping.
Oh,
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, she can straighten up while we talk, right?
There you go. Vacuuming's always good.
Yeah, vacuuming's
podcasting.
Great background noise for that.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Yeah, so I actually think it's a little nicer for me because I'm not much of a graphic artist, and my channel looked kind of bland before, so now my channel looks like everyone else, but it is kind of bland. And I can see some of the the frequent YouTubers being kind of annoyed by it. What they did do is they did choose or allow a few of their YouTube rock stars in there. So iJustine has a video already set up and about how she's using it and everything else. So they've taken a lot of the top traffic producers and given them the opportunity to get these channels configured the way YouTube would like them to be configured. And I think it's probably a necessary change, just given how it is no longer just a desktop computer platform, that it's really something more than that now. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if you heard anything.
The thing that I'm really interested about is whether or not they're going to make annotations work on the new devices, on the iPad, and they have made the ads clickable on some of the mobile devices, and now there's somebody else at the door. But I haven't seen anything where it's hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, sorry, no, nothing. Thank you.
Are they selling you stuff now?
Yeah, I don't know. It's more cleaning people. I don't know. I have a team of there's so many
service.
messy rooms. There's so many messy rooms here at South by Southwest that they have teams of maids coming and going. But when it comes to the interactivity of YouTube, there's huge growth going on these mobile connected devices, and the interactivity that you get on the desktop isn't working on these devices yet. So hopefully that's going to take place soon. And I think when that does, we're going to see some new programming develop where you click on stuff and get to experience shows in different ways.
That would be really good, because I think there's a lot of traffic that you can grow from having some of your really popular videos linked to similar ones that are maybe not so popular. And again, it only works on the desktop mode right now. And another thing I was thinking about too is in the past week, or the 2 weeks, they've made some changes also, because on my gadget channel, believe it or not, I actually get really good comments. Knock on wood, I've had probably 98% of the comments I've had have been really good and constructive, and a lot of them ask questions, and I do like to engage with my audience quite a bit. So I was not able to reply to comments on mobile up until about a week or two ago, and now they've implemented the inbox system on mobile too. So that works. Doesn't work through the app, but so the interactivity is coming. And I think most importantly, which we desperately need, is a single unified chat room for these Google Plus Hangouts, because we've got our chat room at our website, behindthevideo.com/live, where you can interact with us during the show. But if someone happens to come across us in YouTube, there's a separate chat room there. There's separate chats going on in Google Plus, and it's kind of a nightmare. So hopefully the interactivity will flow properly. So we'll follow that as it develops. But we have some ratings this week from television and movies and everything else. So TV shows, Tim, this week, 60 Minutes, number 5 at 12 million viewers. American Idol, which is becoming more interactive, is here having some ratings problems. They're not dominating like they once did. They are number 4 for the Thursday show, where they oust people, and the Wednesday show was number 3, and those were hovering between 13 and 12.5 million viewers. Have you watched American Idol at all this year?
No, not at all.
So we're not sure what's going on there, but I've been watching it a little bit more, and I've seen, it's funny, we were talking about how this show a show or two ago, how American Idol started 12 years ago, and really didn't have all this technology that we have available to us now, and now you're able to vote with an app. They have some live Twitter things going on, so it's a pretty good developments going on there and whatnot. So we'll see what happens there. And I just got notified, Jim Collison, who's watching us, just sent me a Google Plus chat saying, single unified chat room for Hangouts, he can't wait. Well, we hope so too. We can't wait either, because you just commented somewhere else than where we were looking, but thankfully I got a notification about that. So that's it. The number 1 show this week was on broadcast was NCIS at 20.6 million viewers, and that show is just keeps going.
Yeah, it keeps going, doesn't it? And what about cable shows? What did you watch anything? I didn't watch anything this week because I was just headed to South by Southwest, but looks like there were some numbers on cable. Somebody was watching some programming there.
Yeah, so it looks like the Vikings on the History Channel came in at number 5 at 6.2 million viewers. Duck Dynasty continues their odd dominance of the cable airwaves at the number 4 and 3 spots, 8.5 and 8.6 million views apiece. My favorite show right now, The Walking Dead, didn't hit the number 1 this week at 11.2 million viewers because the Bible on the History Channel was...
It was divine intervention.
It was. Well, they say the Bible is the most published book. It always tops the bestseller list. So that is probably what's happening there. So always interesting developments there. And on the movie front, just out right now, so I'll drop the link, Tim, into the show notes as we're doing this live here, because Nikki Fink, our weekend box office person, gives us a breakdown of the estimates for the weekend. And we are in Sunday morning right now, which is always a last-minute thing for our show notes. But Disney's 3D Wizardry Oz, the Great and Powerful, was, in Nikki's words, magic for the U.S. and Canadian box office. It looks like she's got a lot of numbers on the page here, but it looks like it had an $80.3 million debut this week.
It's pretty good, right?
That is not bad. So not a bad way to start. And what is this movie? Is this like a Wizard of Oz sequel or prequel or something?
It's a prequel. It's kind of how Oz, who's played by James Franco, gets to Oz, and he meets a witch there, and she falls madly in love with him, and he breaks her heart. So could be a good one with 80 million.
That's not a bad way to start.
In our YouTube videos this week, there is a related video that we'll get to in a second. Maybe we should just jump to the top YouTubes.
Why don't we jump that? Because Nikki wrote an entire essay on all the movies this weekend, and I can't follow quick enough to let you know what number 4 is.
Number 5 on the top YouTube this week is a video called Elevator Murder Experiment. Now, it's got, I think, at this time around 5 million views, somewhere in that neighborhood. But it's a video where they've set up all these hidden cameras on inside the elevator, outside the elevator, in the lobby. And as people walk up, they press the button to the elevator opens, and there are 2 guys in the elevator on the floor, and one of them has a cable around the other guy's neck, and he's choking him to death. And so it's, what would you do? And so you watch this video, you see these reactions, you're worried somebody's going to have a heart attack, and then at the end of the video there's a website, and you go to this website, and it's a link to a movie page. So this video was an attempt at a viral video, and it seems to be going viral. But when you get to the movie page, there's another video, and you watch this video, and it's a recording of a guy doing a rap song that is in the movie, and there's just this big disconnect that happens Whereas you've got all these people that are interested in this murder, and then you drive them to a website, which is great, but then there's a disconnect of a rap artist singing a song, which is in the movie, but doesn't, story-wise, it's a big disconnect for me. But nevertheless, a fun YouTube video to watch, but a little on the creepy, disturbing side.
Yeah, I was just, it's like Candid Camera used to be a lot more innocent than this is. This is kind of,
yeah.
And now, are we sure that these people are real? Like, these are not actors here coming into the elevator? Like, this is legit? Like,
no, we're not sure of that, but
okay.
I think they were. I think they were.
And this one dude's like taking a picture of them. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, that's the one that I have that I think might be an actor. The guy that's like taking a picture of videotaping it. Everybody else seems like for the most part. Number 4, Hola Soy German, which is it's in Spanish about someone's life, and it's drawn on a whiteboard with a marker, and it's all in Spanish, but around 5 million views on that one. And then I'll let you pronounce this next one, number 3.
My Russian just isn't what it used to be, but the English translation of number 3 this week is Hamster Trolls, essentially, I'm guessing a police officer. And what this is a video from Russia, a sort of a dashboard camera video, I guess. This guy has on his dashboard a little electronic hamster that repeats everything it hears, and it kind of turns up the pitch a little bit, so it's kind of goofy. And he gets pulled over by a cop, and everything the cop says, the hamster yells back at the police officer. And the funny part about it is that the police officer has no reaction to this hamster at all. He just continues interacting with the guy he pulled over. And I'm guessing he's saying other funny things because I can't understand a word they're saying. But 6 million people found it interesting. I'm assuming most of them in or around Russia. But I think it shows you just how international this platform is becoming. That on our list, there's 2 videos that are not in English. And
and this one's interesting too. It's a promo for a TV network in Russia as well. So yeah.
It's interesting. Number 2 is related to our Oz video, and this is Mila Kunis, the actress who interviews or gets interviewed by a BBC radio producer, and apparently this guy was thrown in a car about 5 minutes before he went and met with Mila Kunis. So he was kind of thrust into this thing, and
he seems like a guy off the street. He doesn't seem. I mean, I don't know the backstory of this, but it's absolutely charming video. It's just so much fun to watch, and he feels like just a regular Joe that they've grabbed out of a pub, and he keeps asking her out, and it's just a charming video to watch.
It's really fun, and there was an interview of him and his boss, the guy who sent them. So I think he's like a producer or some low-level staffer on the show, and his boss sent him to this thing, and so it's kind of like he's an intern getting sent out. Okay, great. Exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. So and I guess as a joke, they said, all right, we're going to hand this kid the microphone and the equipment, and you're going to be meeting with Mila Kunis in 10 minutes. He had no idea this was happening. So he probably just scribbled some stuff together. And this is again another example of people looking for authenticity. So let's think last week, when we had the Oscar interview with Jennifer, whatever her name is. You know who I'm talking about there. I'm losing track of names already.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. So, again, she's real. Like, she's not putting on some PR BS. She's just being herself. Yep. And in this instance too, here's this reporter or this intern or whoever he was, completely terrified of meeting with this actress who he obviously has a thing for, and she plays along, and not only that, she has a conversation with him, and she's begging him to keep asking questions that are not about the movie, because she's been in this room sick as a dog for 8 hours probably, having to answer the same questions with the same answers throughout the whole thing. And at one point, because he's not asking about the movie, the PR person in the room gets annoyed about it, and Mila Kunis grabs the microphone and says, "Okay, let me answer every question you might have," and she just runs through every canned response that she has for the movie, and they get back to just talking about whatever, and it is great. And I think this is a real message to people that if you want your video to work, you've got to be real. People are looking for a little bit more than spoon-fed PR BS. They want some real interaction here, and this was another great example of that. And I think it shows you that the more real you are, the better you're going to do traffic wise.
Well,
but I don't know how that explains our number one episode. But
I have a spin on the number one episode in that sometimes if you have a strong enough brand, you can create something that is stale and already done because people expect the brand to be great, so they're going to watch it anyway to see what happens. And with number one, we've talked about Harlem Shake. We've talked that it's kind of jumped the shark. Well, there's now the Homer Shake, where the Simpsons do an animated promo that is a take on the Harlem Shake. It has 24 million views already. It's mildly amusing at best.
But at least they redid the song, right?
Yeah, it's all done in Homer.
It's the Homer Shake. 24 million views, and I think too, The Simpsons is such a beloved brand, and this is a great thing for a beloved brand to do on YouTube, is give you something that you're not going to see on television, and that is exactly what they delivered on this thing, and what a takeoff that one had. So, again, in case in point that, I think if you tailor the content specifically for the platform, you're gonna do pretty well with it, especially when you have a following like The Simpsons has. And you know what? It's 30 seconds or a minute and a half, whatever it is. It's certainly digestible. So, kudos to those folks there. So that is the top 5 on YouTube. So Tim, let's talk about IAB's little recommendation here. This is from Adweek.com. They're saying people aren't spending enough on digital, and it looks like they're referring to video specifically in this thing. That there was a study that IAB, the International Association of the Interactive Advertising Bureau. I should know this because I am one of those free members of it. They commissioned Nielsen to do a study about how to extend retention of your brand and how to cross platforms. And their recommendation is that if you're doing television buys, you should probably do some on video platforms too. And you work in this business, Tim, so what has this report meant for you?
Well, I'm the biggest cheerleader for web video that there is and for digital video anywhere. So yeah, go buy some more. But at the same time, to be both sides of the coin, it's the IAB, which is commissioning Nielsen, who both benefit from more digital, and their their clients and their members are going to be happy about this. So take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, I do think you should buy more digital.
Yeah, buy lots of it. We've got plenty too. So it's
as long as you're able to unlock your mobile device.
That's right, because if you can't unlock your mobile device, you're totally screwed. So this has been a real game of cat and mouse. So this is according to Media Post. Now the White House is now backing the right to unlock mobile devices, and this came as the result of a post on their petition site called We the People, where you can go in and say, hey, I want to do whatever, and you get enough people to sign the petition, and the White House then responds to it. So in the United States here, we have a number of carriers. I think we're down to maybe 4 major wireless carriers, and there's a bunch of little ones here or there. But when you buy a phone like my iPhone here, it is locked to the carrier, and sometimes it's locked because there's certain characteristics of the platform they're using. So in a couple of years ago, it was CDMA or 3G or GSM or whatever. But now a lot of the phones can pretty much work across different platforms, and they lock them with software so that you can't take your Verizon phone to AT&T, for example, or vice versa. So it's been essentially deemed illegal to unlock your phone by, of all places, the Library of Congress, who under some strange set of Washington law has become the de facto decider in some of these things. Now, a couple of years ago, the same organization, the Library of Congress, said it was legal to jailbreak your phone. In other words, break the restrictions that Apple and others place on phones for installing software. But that apparently stops when it comes to unlocking. So the Obama administration said, hey, you should be allowed to unlock your phone and use it on any carrier you want. It doesn't mean it's going to happen because Congress has to act and a whole bunch of other stuff. But here's a little pro tip, though. If you have a Verizon iPhone 5, it is already unlocked. So
there you go.
you're all set. Just take.
So there's free market competition at work. So go buy Verizon if you want it unlocked. Have a nice day.
Exactly. You're done and off you run. Now, I should add, though, that if you do unlock your Verizon, or if you've put an AT&T card in your Verizon phone, you don't get the LTE because they're on different frequency bands. So, there's still some physical limitations here, but at some point, we presume it'll work. And that, by the way, was a result of another government decision to sell bandwidth. And the deal was, if you want the bandwidth, you got to be more open. So that is what happened there. So, app of the week, before we talk about our topic of the week, which is how to price your content for online marketplaces. I got a great app, Tim, and I've become, and I'm horrifically unproductive, but I am a productivity geek, and I love productivity apps that try to get me out of my unproductivity habit. And we talked about OmniFocus. We talked about getting things done. There's a new app that you have to kind of get in line for, so download it quickly so you can get online. And it's called Mailbox. Have you heard of Mailbox?
I have not. Tell me about it.
So, all right, this app does what we've all wanted for 15 years. So you get an email, and you're at South by Southwest talking with whoever. And you're like, oh, I got to reply to this email, but I can't do it right now. So what happens? Right now, the email gets buried as more email comes in, and you're stuck, sometimes missing important correspondences because you didn't have a way to remember to respond to that email. Now, you could make a to-do task and do all this other extra work, or you can download Mailbox, and what it will do, among other things, is allow you to delay delivery of an email. So, for example, Tim, if you send me an email right now, I can say, you know what, bring this back later today. And what it'll do is this only works with Gmail on the iPhone right now, but what it does is it takes the email out of your inbox on Gmail, it puts it into a little folder, which you can get to through the Gmail app on the web, so you're not losing anything. And what'll happen is when that time comes back, so 2 or 3 hours later, it'll put it back in the inbox. So it comes in like new, and it gives you a notification. And what it does is it really enforces this inbox zero concept, which is you want to keep your inbox totally clear. And everything in that inbox either is replied to, delayed, or deferred, or whatever else you want to do. But basically, you're just using Mailbox app to quickly get through these emails and make sure you're not missing anything. And the delay is also, could be 2 or 3 hours. You can say tomorrow, you can say next week, next month. You can even go out further than that. And it is really, really slick. And I'm really surprised I'm using it as much as I am. So
I'll have to give it a try.
Yeah, you get online for it. So when you download the app, it'll say like there's 700,000 people ahead of you. So it took me about 2 weeks from the time that I got the app to when I could actually use it. But it is a remarkable little app, and I think they are going to get bought by Google at some point, because this is a great way to extend the Gmail experience. And again, the best part is that when you're using Gmail on the web, you're still able to get at all those messages. So when you get back to your desk, you can go into the later folder and just kind of bang through it, and it's great. So I highly recommend that. So that is cool. That is my latest and greatest, and I think it's going to help me out a lot. So we both produce content. We help people produce content. We give advice and all that good stuff. Now, right now, it's very easy, and almost too easy, because if you have a YouTube channel, you don't have to think about pricing it, because YouTube is going to put ads over your content that are specific for the user that you're talking, or that they're connecting the video to, and yada yada yada. But we could sell our own ads, and the question has come up in my mind, and maybe I'm sure you get this question a lot too, is how do you price content for advertisers, and what options are there for independent creators to look at? We, of course, have display ads, but we also have video that we can bake into our own videos. There's product placement. So first of all, let's start. How do you advise people what to charge for an ad?
Sure. It really depends on what value they're bringing and how that value compares to their competition. So you need to do a little market research and find out who out there in traditional media or in new media, if you're able to get their pricing. What are they delivering? Are they delivering a targeted audience that's of high value? One of the content creators that I work with is a guy named Lou Mangella. Hopefully we'll have him on our show as a guest soon. And Lou has a podcast called WDW Radio. It's targeted at people who love Walt Disney World. And he really brings value to the listener in that they can find out what the latest and greatest things are at Walt Disney World and how to have the best experience possible, whether it's time that's important to them or whether it's money that's important to them. He gives a lot of great valued tips, and it's really a podcast for people that are Disney freaks. And if you have a product or a service that appeals to that group, it's pretty valuable podcast because he gets around 1 million downloads of his podcast a month.
That is remarkable.
Really remarkable, highly targeted, highly valued. So I've been connecting him with different sponsors who their other options are maybe advertising in a local newspaper or a local magazine that's in and around Walt Disney World, or taking out ads in, say, a New York paper or a Boston paper. And so you can do your homework and find out what the pricing is on that and how many people those publications reach. And most of those publications reach around the same amount of people that Lou reaches, except they're not targeted at Walt Disney World fans. So all of a sudden the value really increases there. So if you're charging the same amount as these traditional publications, you're delivering a huge value to your advertiser. And I think that's a great place to start. If you don't have an audience yet, you need to keep building that audience, and maybe you do something with an affiliate program, which you can go to linkshare.com or cj.com and sign up for affiliate marketing accounts where, let's say you are driving people to sign up for GoDaddy.com. You get paid for every sign up that you send their way, or you might send somebody to Netflix and you get paid for that. That's a great way to build out your advertising inventory ahead of time, and then as you grow your audience, you'll be able to charge a CPM, cost per millionth. So for every 1,000 listeners or viewers you get, you're charging a dollar amount. A lot of video online, if you're with a network where they aggregate a lot of different channels and a lot of different advertising and connect them, you have low CPMs because it's not as targeted. So when I say low, $1, $5, $8 CPM, so for every 1,000 people, you're getting $5 for that video. Whereas if you have something, if you're able to use Blip, blip.com, you're probably getting more like a $15 CPM for your videos for the pre-rolls. And then if you're able to sell your own advertising and it's premium content of great value, you could probably get $30, $40 CPM. In some cases, I've heard of people in the medical field, if they're targeting doctors, they're getting like $1,000 CPM.
Wow.
Because it's something that's so specialized, and a pharmaceutical company that wants to reach a set of heart surgeons will pay a lot of money to get in front of 1,000 heart surgeons.
And this is a small audience too, so
exactly. So it's not like you're going to get millions of dollars from that particular audience, but you are going to get a higher CPM based on that.
And one of the things that I've seen on the display ad side, especially for local publishers, is that they often sell themselves short because they pick a number out of the sky, like, oh, I'll charge $150 a month for this ad to run, whether it's a display ad or something else. And you're losing some value by not charging per CPM per 1,000, right? I mean, is there a point in which perhaps doing a flat rate makes sense versus something else?
Well, if you don't have the numbers, if you don't know how many people are watching or listening, and you have a sponsor that still wants to spend money with you, that would be a case where a CPM is not going to work because you don't know, you don't have any metrics, and that's a whole nother issue to get into. But be careful not to price too high. Be careful not to price too low. Try to do as much research as you can and see what else is out there. But you've got to build out your inventory, and you need to know what it's worth. A great thing to do is have a survey so that you'll know who your listeners are and where they are and what they're doing and what they like and don't like about your show. We should probably do that for our show.
Yes, we should actually, and that's a really good suggestion. And our traffic tracker, we use a little tracker called PodTrack, and that works. PodTrack tracks both video and audio, and they have a survey that they can produce for you. So you just give them some basic parameters, and they will track all those survey responses. And they're a legit advertising agency too, so it gives you some third-party validation there as well. So
yeah, PodTrack is great. They've brought me sponsors over the years, and they're actually here at South by Southwest, and I just haven't been able to connect with them. We've been missing each other at parties.
So, and maybe it sounds like, Tim, that probably the best way to start, that if you don't have a lot of audience yet, clearly the simplest thing to do, especially if you're on YouTube, is to turn on the monetization. I see about anywhere from $3 to $5 per thousand on that. I guess it depends on how many of the viewers are actually watching the ads that are getting displayed in front of them. Affiliate advertising is great, and the nice part about affiliates is that you can do an on-air read, and it sounds like they bought time, right?
Yeah.
So you can say, hey, go to Amazon or go to Netflix and sign up for this account. They love it because they get a lot of exposure that way, and you get a cut of whatever comes out of that. So that's something certainly to look at. Now, what about product placement, Tim? Because I know that there's this famous story that Gary Vaynerchuk likes to talk about when someone offered him like $10,000 to keep a bottle of water on his table when he was broadcasting, which he turned down. But is placement a big thing?
No, it's not. People think it is. It is in the movies, but in terms of independent content creation, you have to be careful about authenticity. You need to make sure you have brand permission to do that. That your audience isn't going to get upset with it. So it comes with a lot of strings attached that you need to think about. And the deals are hard to come by. There's not really a good marketplace set up for it. There's been fits and starts with it, and I think it'll work out eventually, and it'll get easier to do product placement and stuff. But right now, don't count on it as your number one business model, because it's not an easy road to go down. So it doesn't scale easy.
Right. Exactly. So you got to be careful about that. I guess when you've got a couple million viewers a week, maybe somebody might offer that, but then you've got to think about the implications.
Yeah, it's easier to do when somebody's offering it to you as opposed to you trying to chase it down. And the best way to get people to offer you the product placement is to have a lot of viewers and have an engaged audience.
So there is some good tips there, and we'll keep following this as we go. We're probably in about 2 weeks going to talk about some caveats, though, when people do provide you with things to review and to if you get free product in exchange for doing a review, and we'll talk a little bit about some FTC guidelines regarding that and how you need to be very careful about your disclosure when you're talking about those things. So, but that'll do it for this edition of Behind the Video. Tim's got a lot of people to rub elbows with, and I have to go MC the Essex Rotary Club's Scrabble tournament today. It's actually a really fun event where people can buy their way out of losing. So we're
nice.
It's a fun little thing. So we do it every year.
American.
It's American, and it's small town. It's that's what I love about Connecticut. So we've got some things to do. But Tim, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at OneTimStreet.
And you can find me on Twitter as well, LONSEIDMAN, or Google+, lonseiben.com will link you right to there, and follow us. And you can see us broadcast live every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. So that'll do it for this episode. We are a wrap.
Stories for this episode were compiled by producer Jason Perrier. Follow him on Twitter at JASONPERRIER. Behind the Video is a production of Ape Digital Incorporated and the Independent Media Network, LLC. All rights reserved.